Arabic and in English, but I think its time has come, and this genuinely is an appeal, that it is more important to feel Muslim, to feel
than to look
Hindu,
it.
than to look it. And if you do, if you do, it's absolutely cool. And if you don't, it's absolutely cool.
Dr. I quick response to that, and I got two guests waiting to speak.
The best is to practice Muslim is number one.
Yes.
Appearing is important, but lower down. I'm not saying appearing is the most important. For a person to practice Islam is more important. Beard comes lower down. Beard is not in the 70 major sins. It's not there.
But you know, what about what Kabir is saying? And there was a story of a young boy whom I interviewed, who studies in a convent school in Madhya Pradesh. And he's a poor boy. And the school rules wouldn't allow him to wear a beard. He went all the way to the Supreme Court to say, I must be allowed to keep my beard. Otherwise, I prefer not to study. And he actually dropped out of school for a while because of that. The Supreme Court eventually ruled in his favor. And that is my next question, and I want to take that to Madani Saab. Madani Saab, you're a very interesting character for me, because at one level, you have organized, as Alex said, all of these fatwas against terrorism and all of that. But you also had a resolution against the singing of Vande Mataram. And these kind of resolutions, I know many of my friends would say, is what stereotypes Muslims.
बात ये है कि वंदे मातरम गाना बिल्कुल अलग चीज है।
अलग चीज है।
हाँ, गाने के लिए जिद करना बिल्कुल एक अलग चीज है। कोई जबरदस्ती गवाना चाहे और नहीं गाएं, या हम ये कहें हम नहीं गाते, तो फिर हम स्टीरियोटाइप हो जाएंगे। टेररिज्म की मुखालिफत करेंगे तो बहुत अच्छे हो जाएंगे। ये जो डबल मामला चलता है, ये ठीक नहीं। अभी मेरे दाढ़ी नहीं हो और कुर्ता पैजामा नहीं हो, ये भी जो पगड़ी से तो लोग बहुत डरते हैं ना, कहते हैं ये तो, एक बच्चा एयरपोर्ट पे कहता है मदनी साहब मामा मामा देखो बिन लादेन जा रहा है ना। तो क्या हो गया है, अब ये सब मैं उतार दूं तो मैं एक रीजनेबल मुसलमान हो सकता हूँ, एक ऐसा मुसलमान हो सकता हूँ जो बहुत अच्छा आदमी है। और अगर मैंने ये पहन लिया तो ख्यालात मेरे कितने अच्छे हो, ख्यालात, नजरियात, आइडियोलॉजी, ये है बेसिक चीज, या बेसिक चीज हमारी दिखने वाली चीज है।
That's the reverse stereotype, that the moment you see the beard and the skull cap, it's got to be a fundamentalist. Question, I want to get Soha in. She's been listening very patiently all this while. Soha, as somebody who's grown up in a sense in a house of mixed religion, for you, in a sense, do you feel that public gaze? Do you feel, many people have questioned my labeling of, or my looking for the moderate Muslim. Yet there are others who say that we don't hear enough moderate voices. We either hear the religious voices, or we hear the non-believing.
Because I don't think anybody is really interested in what the moderate Muslim has to say, because it's not very interesting. It's sort of boring. We're represented by extremists who have violent opinions, perhaps. I'm talking about vandals. And I think maybe also more recently, I was asking my mother, when I was asked to come on this show, I said, in your time, when you married my father, and you had an interreligious marriage, which presumably at that time, 40 years ago, was more controversial than it is today. Were you ever asked to defend your identity, to defend your choice of religion, what it means to be Hindu or Muslim, the way that we are today? And she said, no, not at all. It was a no comment issue. You just said no comment and you moved on in life. Over the past, maybe ever since I've been in cinema, certainly, it's an issue. And there is, people do ask me, do you feel aggravated by what is happening as a Muslim? Do you feel the need to stand up for your religion because it is being misrepresented in the media? And I think for me, religion is a very private matter. It's between my maker and me. And it's not something that I would want to discuss in any public forum, even this one. We should be talking about an Indian identity as opposed to a Muslim identity, I think.
Okay, I'm going to take that as my cue to take a break. But is it, as I said to Alec earlier, is it that simple? Is there also a sort of denial within the community? Is the secular debate caught up in a certain amount of dishonesty? And there's also the reverse stereotype. We'll take a quick break and then we'll take the questions that I'm sure a lot of people have here that's coming up after the break. Welcome back to We the People. Is popular culture in a way responsible for stereotyping the image of the Indian Muslim? Or is it a reflection, a sense of some shades of truth at least that the Muslim community sometimes feels defensive about. Before we return to our panel, let's hear from some people in the audience. Yes.
My question is, much as it's easy for a Shah Rukh Khan or a Sohail Ali Khan or a Kabir Khan to say that we can be liberal and still we can get along in society, what happens to the younger generation of Muslims? Is it easy for them to say that we want to be liberals, we don't want to carry ourselves into the conservative group, or are they actually shadowed by the gather of the people around them?
Who wants to take that? I mean, someone who's had an experience, in a sense, with straddling between orthodox. Shah Rukh, what would you say to your kids? I mean, how important is it for you for them to have a sense of their faith?
No, very clearly they need to have a sense of their faith, because my parents have brought me up with this faith, and I'm very, very proud of this faith. It's taught me a lot of nice things, and I think a lot of the things that I lead in life, though leading an immensely commercial and a glamorous life, so to say, from the outside, I think all the good things that I think I'm doing, because I always go back to my faith and remember, okay, we have to be tolerant, and I want my children to know this faith very clearly.
But if your kids asked you, what is my religion, what would you say?
My daughter did ask me one day, she came back and she said, you know, teacher, once somebody asked her, are you a Hindu or a Muslim? And I said, say you're a Christian. It's absolutely all right. We are Indians. Let's not go there. But yes, I make them pray as much as I can in the
Both
Islamic
faiths.
way. My wife does it in her faith. And the fact is that we are very clear that we accept it with ease.
Kabir, you wanted to say
I was
something?
just saying it's a very idealistic sort of a thought, but I wish religion was something we were all allowed to choose when we were 21. The issue is we all born into religions. They are habits. We don't choose our religions.
It's an interesting thought.
No, this point I'd like to comment on. I lecture to college students, and one of the things is, I lecture, do you want to follow the same values as your parents? Why are you a Muslim? Why are you a Hindu? Why are you a Christian? And nobody knows why. And then finally they realize that they've inherited from their parents a religion. But you don't have to.
But as
I
Kabir-
refuse
as
to
Kabir
inherit
said-
from my parents a religion.
But Alec, as
I
Kabir
gave it
said,
up.
religion can often be cultural more than scripture driven.
Yes.
It's just the exposure you grew up with. Let's take a question from this young lady here. Yes.
I really don't understand what is being a moderate Muslim. I think I'm just a Muslim. I'm a normal Muslim. I don't find any difference wearing a hijab. I don't feel different from any other lady sitting around over here. So what is such a big issue about
Can
it?
I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Suppose you
sure.
had a friend
Yeah.
who was also your faith and they did not want to wear the hijab. Would that be okay with you?
I don't have a problem with what she follows. Though what I follow, what I believe in, I would really like to explain it to her. Okay, see, this is what I believe in. And it depends, it's obviously her own wish. Like faith cannot be forced, but it can always be explained and told, see, this is right and this is wrong. Now it's up to you whether you believe it or you follow it.
Just a minute. I'm sure someone has a question on that, but I want to go back to Karan on this. One of the interesting images of My Name is Khan was Shah Rukh's sister-in-law, the character who plays Shah Rukh's sister-in-law, being forced after 9/11 to go out without her hijab. And in a sense, that was the vulnerability of the Muslim in post 9/11 America. But you use the hijab in a sense as a symbol of religious independence. But a lot of women have not resolved the question of the headscarf.
To me, the hijab is truly representative of the identity of the woman, and it's also a part of her religion and what brought her up. Came out of our research. I went to various organizations like CARE and ACLU in America, and there were millions, I mean lots of women in America who had to give up the hijab because they didn't want those stares at tube stations or food markets. Families forced them. There were husbands that really forced them to give up the hijab. But eventually, I felt she touched base with herself and her identity. There were moments that we actually had to edit out where throughout there were times where actually she was just, her hand would go towards the head because she just felt different. And that bothered her on an emotional, on a physical level.
Can I just say one thing? Sure. I don't think that action condemns. I condemn the people who've done, say, what we showed in the film or anywhere in the world, but I don't condemn it as an anti-religious act. I condemn it as an anti-free will act. If she wants to, faith is about free will. If she wants to wear it, it's absolutely all right. It could be a hijab, it could be a bikini, it could be a t-shirt, it could be a shirt, it could be whatever.
Intimidation.
लेकिन ये अगर अपने शौक से पहन रही हैं और मैं अपने शौक से दाढ़ी रख रहा हूँ तो मुझे हक तो है पूरा, लेकिन मैं मॉडरेट मुस्लिम नहीं हो सकता. ये भी एक बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है.
नहीं, इतना हमें भी कैरिकेचर मत करिए मीडिया में. But so you were saying,
I
if
was
it's
saying again, if it's
intimidation.
free will, I have a problem with people who exert violence or force on you, which is scary. Then as a person, whether you choose to stand up for your identity or not, If somebody tells you you cannot, you must not, that is what I have a problem with in a country where we're supposed to respect free speech.
Najib, but look at the debate in France.